Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Brown's Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski. You can call me Grizzer if that's too tough to say, because that's what happened in high school. No one could pronounce it, so they said, we'll just call you Grizzer. And this is where you get caught up on some of the latest news involving our favorite team in the NFL, that is the Cleveland Browns. Thank you to everyone who has liked our previous episodes, who has subscribed to the channel. I feel we're going to get to 9,000 by the end of the week. And when we do, I will change the fit for one day. So let's phone the neighbors, wake the kids. Let's get to 9,000. Also, thank you to everybody who has scanned the QR code and have become members of the Browns' latest dog pound, and to everyone who gets their comments in the viewer comments section. And speaking of the viewer comments, this is a viewer comments only day. Now, what does that mean? That means all three of the topics that you see there were inspired by viewer comments. And then we still have your typical viewer comments down there in the viewer comments. That's a lot to say and a lot of viewer comments. But here we go. Today's show. Can our D&D offense get the job done beginning week 1 against Cincinnati? And I'm not talking Dungeons and Dragons. Why you have to start loving the fact that Gabriel is on this team. You also have to find, we're also going to talk about why people have to stop saying the Browns don't want Shedeur. It's got to stop. And in the viewer comments, a viewer wants to know if I'm able to evaluate what happens during a football play. I have a graphic for him, so stay tuned for that. And let you know, like, the cuts are already cut. Like, late yesterday afternoon, the cuts already started cutting in. Nick Needham, remember he made that interception against Carolina. Snoop Huntley, which is why I said this is nuts to take Shedeur out for the 2-minute drive and put Huntley in there, because you knew you were cutting him no matter what. Tony Brown's also gone. Yeah, that just makes no sense to me. I don't know why you would take Shedeur out to put a guy in you weren't keeping. Everybody knew you weren't keeping him. I mean, the only thing you're only doing him a favor, trying to get him, but it is what it is. It's over. All right. Kevin Stefanski said he expects Kenny Pickett to be available for week 1. And guess what? He said he's still not sure who'll be the backup to Joe Flacco. I'm here to tell you it will be Kenny Pickett. There's no doubt. Stop. This is just tell us. Ethan Posick and Blake Whiteheart also are expected to be available week 1. So their injuries aren't that serious. And then here's the schedule. So nothing going on really today. But tomorrow, cut down day. It's going to be going on all day. Like, it's just not going to stop. So until they get to 53 sometime tomorrow. But practice is at 3:30. Stefanski and the players will be available in case there are any surprise cuts. I think Deontay Johnson will be one of them. And then Wednesday, practice at 2:30. So no game this week. The next game, Cincinnati at home, week 1. We will beat Cincinnati on September 7th. And this is a viewer-only comment day. And so here is the first comment that inspired this first topic, the topic about Dink and Dunk. Damon Lewis says, I like Dylan, but he got max protection and dink and dunk passes. I'm glad he did well, but that's not going to win you games at this level. Well, here's the thing, Damon. You have to approach Dillon Gabriel like this. He's not a franchise quarterback. He's the guy that's going to come in and just kind of hold down the fort when the starter gets hurt. I mean, he's brought here to be the backup. And that's really, even when the other day, as well as he played, I still just see backup. He's going to be a great backup. I just don't see him ever materializing into the franchise quarterback. But you need a guy like this. And so that is the dink and dunk going to win? No, we're not going to do that every game. It might just be when he is there. Because I'll tell you what, he threw so many outs. That is just a pick 6 waiting to happen. And you almost saw one yesterday, too, when he was in there. So you can't keep doing that. You're going to have to start throwing over the middle at some point. And the one time he threw over the middle, ball was tipped, and Larvadain almost got his block knocked off. So don't think that this dink and dunk offense is going to – it might only be around when he's in there. But if teams catch up to it, who knows? All right, Matt Lovejoy is next. It's unbelievable how people feel like they have to apologize for complimenting Dylan Gabriel. It's like he has leprosy or something. It's crazy. Now, I mean, I don't know if you apologize, but I apologize because he proved me wrong. He did. But here's the thing. All we could go on is what we were seeing at training camp. And I was there at training camp, and you heard Noah. Noah was there too. Like we saw what we saw. He did not look good, and the stats did not back him up. And so when he did what he did against the Eagles, and then he had the 2 turnovers, I mean, it was okay, but I knew everybody would talk about the turnovers. And then he went out, and he did a nice job yesterday. But, I mean, you kind of have to say, look, I got to just be honest with you. He looked good because everything else has not been good. And so, and that's why, it was so surprising to see Shedeur, kind of fall off the rails the other day because he had been having such a great camp. And then he looked good against Carolina, and so, it is what it is. But here's the thing with Gabriel that everybody, you got to start wrapping your hands around. This is the bottom line on Gabriel. He plays the way Stefanski wants his quarterbacks to play. He wins the way that Kevin wants them to win. He's a great decision maker. He's accurate from the pocket. He can throw on the move in both directions, even though he's lefty. And he has excellent pocket movement. And so, the knock on him is the height. I mean, I still think the left-handed thing. But the knock on him mostly is the height. And, people say if he was like 6'2", 6'3", he probably would have been like the number 2 pick overall. I mean, who knows? Maybe even a number 1 pick. He was in college for 6 years, and he's supposed to be a computer. He's a human computer. So that's why they love him. And so, but I fully expect him to start as quarterback 3, where he's been on the depth chart, because Kenny Pickett will be back. Kevin Stefanski said it yesterday. So, but it's time to lean into Dylan, because he's here to stay, baby. And if we ever need him, we need him to come through for us. And so, and same with Kenny Pickett. So they want to go. The plan all along was to keep 4 quarterbacks. That was the plan all along. You got the 2 veterans at the top. And this is because we have been burned. Stefanski has been burned. He got burned by the Watson thing, and that's what happened with, I forgot to mention this yesterday. The Watson, when he was out there, it looked just like when Shedeur was out there, it looked just like when Watson used to be out there. We're sending people down the field. Watson's running around like he has nowhere to go, and getting chased all over the place. Like it took me right back to the Watson days. I'm like, what are we doing? What happened to the Stefanski offense? Why is he doing this to Shedeur? So that's what it looked like to me. But that's neither here nor there. Lean into Dylan Gabriel. Warm up to Kenny Pickett. I'm telling you, because we may need him. We may need him. Hopefully, hey, Flacco takes us to the Super Bowl. We don't talk about any of this stuff. But that's where we're at. And Dylan Gabriel proved me wrong. I'm in on Gabriel. But you have to be. They love him, and he's a computer. So let's go. If he's gonna win his games, when we call on him, win his games. Okay, Jiggy Bro. 888. Your organization is a mess. They clearly don't want him, meaning Shedeur. Why don't you just let him go? Be happy with Dylan. 2, meaning Shedeur, 12, will not forget it, never, ever. To be backstabbed by your own team is diabolical. Talk all you want, but you just lost a Super Bowl chance, maybe forever. Well, here's the thing. Well, what would really help this situation is if we knew what was going on behind the scenes. And everything, all the conversations and the meetings and everything, that would help. It might provide a little bit of an insight to the situation. But here's the bottom line. The bottom line is this. They are going to develop him. They are the only team in the NFL that believed him in enough to trade 2 picks, to move up to get him and take him. And there are so many people that are in the comments and say, and rip on the Browns and say, we don't deserve him, get rid of him. Nobody else took him for 5 rounds. And then when Andrew Berry had the chance, he jumped all over it. Honestly, it hurts me as a Browns fan when I see in the comments people saying, negative, like these horrible things about the Browns, but we're the ones that took them. We're the ones that want him. Kevin Stefanski said yesterday, the whole plan is to develop him. What is wrong with that? I just don't get it. So please stop saying the Browns don't want Shedeur. We are the only team out of 32. And we didn't just take him. It's not like we just oh, look at this. We traded 2 picks to move up to get him. Please don't forget that. The Browns want him. We got a full year to develop him. And if he turns into what we think he can turn into, that opens up all kinds of possibilities next year. Please hang your hat on that. Man, and stop with the Browns don't want Shedeur thing. It just doesn't make any sense. All right, now to the actual viewer, to our regular segment on the viewer comments. Killer Kill says, Shedeur sucks. A little harsh. He's no NFL quarterback. Real harsh. Had flaws in college and was mid then and is bad still. I don't care what his last name is. He's not good. I'm like, listen, Killer Kill. If you can't see the potential in Shedeur Sanders, then I can't help you because it's all there. That game against Carolina showed you everything you needed to see. I mean, it's all there. Eyes downfield, but he regressed a little bit, and it was a surprise, against the Rams. But it's still, you learn from it. You learn from the losses. So now he understands, the backpedaling and all that. It's not going to work. Got to get the ball out of your hands. You got to do something. But you got to read the room, know your situation, know your lineman. That's that. Muscle Man 2025. Haven't heard from Muscle Man in a while. He played bad. Talking about Shedeur. That's it. Enough with the conspiracies. I mean, everybody is saying, Stefanski sabotaged him, and he was asked about that yesterday. And he said, look, he blocks out the noise and says his goal, like with all the rookies, is to develop them all. That's all they're trying to do. And what I think is let's say this. Let's say Stefanski did call plays that sent people down the field with, linemen in front of him that were going to get cut anyway. Let's say he did that. Maybe it's all part of the maturation process, right? It's to get him to understand you cannot backpedal and hold on to the ball and try to get him to understand that when there's another team coming after you on the other side, you can't do those kind of things. And so just to show him, just like I will tell you, I had a pitcher who he pitched on 2 different teams. It was Noah. He pitched for 2 different teams one summer, and he pitched a game on a Sunday. And then on the other team, they were playing their arch rivals, and he wanted to pitch that game too. I said, you can't pitch. You just pitched. The whole game, I'm hearing, and he was like, I think 12 at the time, 13, whatever he was. He was young. He's chirping in my ear through that whole game. Let me pitch. So I finally told the other coaches, I said, he's making me nuts. I said, but let's let him pitch. Let's let him pitch. He went out there, he got shelled. And on the way home, he was all upset. And I told him, I said, I tried to tell you. I tried to explain there's a reason we have pitch counts. There's a reason for all this stuff. Now you know. And the hardest lesson still, you have to go through these things sometimes to understand because the kids don't listen to their fathers. But to really understand, you have to go through it. And maybe Kevin Stefanski had his best interests in there now. I still don't agree with taking him out for the 2-minute drill. I would have still ended on a good one, But Noah learned it. He learned. We all have gone through things like that, So Shedeur went through it. So it's for the betterment of his development. Everything that they're doing. So just be patient. Be patient. His time will come. S. Singleton. So I said, when a quarterback gets up to the line, if he doesn't like what he sees, he's got to audible out of it or use a timeout. And if he knows this play's not going to work, and that's one of the things I said about Shedeur. We were going through all the comments, and sure, because these plays aren't working. I said, well, you got to if you're the quarterback, you got to get yourself out of it. And S. Singleton says he's not allowed to audible. The other 10 players on the field are not that advanced. He says, you're not able to evaluate what's happening during the football play, are you? Now, how could 10 professional football players and the quarterback. How could the other guys on the team not be advanced enough that everybody knows what the play is? Everybody knows what their responsibility is when they call a play in the huddle. And I have a graphic for you, S. Singleton. Take a look at this. Rookies and audibles. Why do they use them on rookies? Why do they give rookies audibles? Well, here's why. They test their football IQ. The preseason is a testing ground for rookie quarterbacks. While they may have a simplified playbook, coaches still want to see if they can identify defensive formations and call the appropriate check or kill audible. Controlled environment. In the preseason, coaches can more carefully control the situations in which a rookie is allowed to audible. A limited set of adjustments or 2 play calls might be installed to test their decision-making without giving them full command. There's also the whole thing about building trust. Successfully calling an audible that results in a big play is a big trust builder with coaches and teammates. And here's the thing. We heard Kevin Stefanski talk about it during the week. They expanded the playbook for each of the rookies because they wanted to see how they wanted to make it more of a game day feel. And they wanted to see how they can handle it. And so for U.S. Singleton to say that I don't know how to evaluate a play, a little harsh. All I'm trying to say is it's all part of the learning process as Singleton. So, and he would be allowed to call a timeout or get out of the play somehow if he didn't like what he saw. And so, anyway, high school quarterbacks have audibles. How would NFL rookies, how would they not be able to understand what an audible is? That one made me a little insane. I had to get a graphic for that one, but all part of the maturation process with Shedeur. And we'll end on Dave Young at 3857, and he says it best. Shedeur Sanders is a rookie. Give him time. Gabriel looked better. That's all it is. Gabriel had a couple of good games, and Shedeur had a bad game. And he's going to learn from it and build on it. The bottom line is this. They were never going to be QB1. It's always going to be Flacco or Pickett. And I think it was going to be Pickett until he got hurt. But Flacco, he was like, all right, here's my chance. And he's been locked in. He's been locked in for a month, meaning you had to see it when we went there. Like, no, you heard Noah say it. Don't take my word for it. Take the kid's word for it if you don't want to listen to me. I'm telling you, man, Flacco was dialed in. And he's been dialed in since he's gotten this opportunity and he started getting those reps. Remember, he went from absolutely no reps. Pickett was getting all the reps. I think they wanted Pickett, but then Flacco, it's like a Wally Pipp and Lou Gehrig. It was Pickett's job to lose, and he lost it because he got hurt. And now he'll be the backup. Simple as that. The rookies were there to be the third and the fourth option all along. All right. The cuts will continue. We'll talk about them all. We'll see if my bold prediction on Deontay Johnson is in there. But tomorrow, by the end of the day, tomorrow, we will have our full 53-man roster. We may know some things about the practice squad, too. Who knows? There may be a trade in there for all we know. Lots going to happen over here in the next 24 to 36 hours. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Let's get to 9,000. Let's go. Phone the neighbors. Wake the kids. All right. Go Browns. We'll see you next time.